Welcome to Even Just a Little, where we explore the beautiful gift of choice, tiny trusts toward big freedom, those moment-to-moment decisions we make that build life. Hello, and welcome to this episode of Even Just a Little, where we really explore the beautiful gift of choice and how it builds life. And today I just wanted to share a little bit of my why and where this journey has brought me by sharing the pieces that I try to share with you in a deep, deep desire for you to know you really have everything you need. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be expensive. But peace and joy and love are ours when we begin to notice it's being offered in so many ways all around us. So today I'm out where I discover that peace every day. The moment I walk outside, I am reminded of how I'm being held, how I'm being loved, simply by breathing morning air, by seeing the beauty that surrounds me. No matter where we are, we can find that beauty, whether it's in a face, whether it's in a hand of a friend or a child, whether it's in the voice of the kind people that help us in the grocery store. It is being offered to us constantly when we begin to notice. Um, so my why is I desperately want each person to know how deeply loved they are and how deeply loved you are. It started with my family. I lived a lot of these tiny trusts that I share in my home, in our home, in raising our children. Um, Perhaps the first gift where I noticed divine love other than what I'd been taught traditionally. These are my non-traditional means of receiving divine love and grace after years and years of living a traditional life of receiving that divine goodness. But beauty, the moment you walk out the door, beauty seeks to gently hold you, gently, whether it's a tree, whether it's the sky, whether it's a blossom. Um, I try to share and bring attention to beauty through my artwork. And this particular painting is called Alive. And I painted this the last year I was a high school art teacher. And I had gone to an international folk art festival in Santa Fe, New Mexico, as continuing education that summer for my students. And it was very, very interesting. Countries from around the world wearing native costumes, bringing beautiful art that they had created. And also, it was bringing funding to their countries by selling the art at this festival. And the art was fabulous. But while the huge art market was happening, there were also musicians on a stage, and they were highly overlooked. It was, or by me, they were highly overlooked because the art was what I was so drawn to until I hear this drum begin to be beating and the energy, magnetic, it got louder, it got fun. It was very enticing and inviting and unexpected, which I think is a big piece of this. Where we are to be loved is many times in unexpected places from unexpected people that may wind up being our best friends. This fellow's name, I don't know his name. I know that when he began playing, there were five of them playing drums, wearing native costumes, and I'm ashamed to say I don't even know where they were from. I didn't realize until later the impact that they had had on my life. Um, these Men, in this case, were sharing their beauty, their creations, their delight, their energy with the people at this festival, and it was magnetic. People flocked to the stage in order to see what was happening. It was so awe-inspiring. It wasn't even what I would call loud. It was just a steady goodness, beat, a rhythm, a holy rhythm, I might now say, inviting us to recognize what can happen when we share our little piece with the world. And I named this painting Alive because these people, including myself, that flocked to this stage to hear these beautiful humans share their gift with the world, changed my life. It gave me the courage to know that I was an art teacher at the time, and it was time for me to put my form of beauty out into the world. And so this painting really is representative of when I began creating and sharing my own art, which is available to all of us. It may not be art, but we're here for a purpose. If we are here, we're here for a purpose. So we're constantly being offered beauty, whether it's the form of art, which I love to share, music, nature, faces, friends, beauty, beauty, beauty. As John O'Donohue so eloquently says, is the invisible embrace waiting to hold us. We're also always, we all have access to our breaths, which I am a yin yoga instructor. I've studied yoga very intently for the last 10 years. And what I've learned is our breath, which is always with us, can physically change what's going on in our bodies. Anytime there's a frazzled moment, that frazzled moment can be looked at as an opportunity to choose, a tiny trust, to choose to breathe rather than go down those pathways that are ingrained in our minds, the pathways that are harmful to us. And breath, just a simple inhaling and exhaling through the nose, just beginning to notice the breath, focus on the breath, and even the breath behind the breath changes everything. It's always with you. It can always be used. And on Even Just a Little, I like to share a number of healthy ways to bring that central nervous system into balance that you have with you every moment of every day if you're breathing and watching this. Um, Another aspect of love that's being offered to us every day is our bodies. And many times we don't pay attention. We take them so for granted. We notice the ache and pain, and we can get stuck in that ache and pain, or we can also look through a different lens, which is what Tiny Trust is all about. Taking taking each difficulty or as an opportunity. Perhaps there's a pain in your foot. Maybe that's an opportunity to give your foot a little massage, to stretch that foot a little bit. The body has so much wisdom when we begin to pay attention and listen and just realize that it's trying to help us. It's trying to help us. And what I'd like to offer you today is a very, very simple practice that involves the body. It's simple tapping. And when we tap, we not only bring fresh blood and oxygen to our fingertips, but to every piece of the body that you touch, which is why it turns pink. Blood comes to the surface. So I'm just going to give you a very simple introduction to tapping, which also is always available. You can do this anytime, and it is life-changing. Moving of the body, just getting up, walking outside is also available, or getting up and moving. Dance, simple little things. That's what tiny trusts are about. They change the direction of our moment, of our hour, of our day, and eventually our lives. So tapping, fingertips, you simply start at the top of your head. Just tap. forehead. You can massage, or you can just continue tapping. You're going to work your way down your face to the cheekbones. Cheekbones, tap right here. You have lymph glands all over your body. And they gather toxins, but they don't pump. So when we tap, we help them to release those toxins into the bloodstream and be washed away right over the mouth, chin. Let's tap her. Really give this area a lot of attention. Tap, 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 tap. And then go up to the shoulder, down the arm, thumb side of the arm, clap. Bring fresh blood to your hands, up the pinky side of your arm. Get those lymph glands under your arm. Also lymph glands located here. Really pump out any toxins gathered there. Such simple stuff, but unbelievably good for you. Offering wellness. We have all we need, and let's come right down the other side of let's get this lovely little area down the thumb side, clap, pinky up. You can go down the top of your arm also if you want. Clap, bottom. You can make this as simple or as complex as you want. You can dive into this. My precious sister knows so much about the lymphatic system. It has taught me so much about tapping. But just simple tapping in the body, where you feel discomfort, tap. Let's get our kidneys, adrenal glands back here. And then continue down the backs of your legs, your feet, up the fronts of your legs, down the sides of your legs, up the internal side of your leg, and then get that groin, karate chop it. And then just notice how you feel. Simple tapping is an unbelievable gift. This is simple stuff that can be done anytime. So we have beauty, we have breath, we have the gift of our bodies when we begin to pay attention, and then we have being. We have being. And a part of being, which I really learned and recognized the value in being creative as an art teacher. I watched my students transform from learning to listen and trust the little voice inside, knowing it matters. That helps us understand to be who we are, to know what you prefer instead of humbly saying amen to what the world tells you you ought to prefer, is to keep your soul alive. This is about keeping your soul alive with tiny choices and creativity, being creative, whether it's creative in your home, whether it's creative with your cooking, whether it's creative as a career. There are so many ways to be creative. But today, I want to share with you just something that is accessible to all of us. And this is collage. And this was the very first collage I did after I quit teaching art and began my journey as an artist. And this is what surfaced. This chrysalis that was becoming a beautiful butterfly and the word artist. And I look back at this and I can see many things now that have happened, places I've been, experiences I've had. My little grandson's feet looked dramatically like these little feet when he was born shortly after this. Healthy food, bringing that into my journey was very important when I discovered I had an autoimmune issue. But just so many things when you look back to these collages and see what has happened. This one's particularly interesting to me because, and this is just the most recent one I did, because I found outside of the box, and I very shortly began a journey of creating a book, working on a book that is all about living out of the boxes we build for ourselves and other people and find ourselves disconnected from what is real. So these tiny trusts are about learning to listen and connect with real through creativity. Now, for this collage activity, all you need, a few magazines. You don't have magazines? I'm sure you get some kind of mail. You can use mail. It really doesn't matter what you have. And a piece of paper, glue. This is all you need. So you can gather those things. And then I would recommend just letting go of any expectations here. This is all about learning to use the right side of our brain rather than the analytical, logical left side, which we are so ingrained to use in this society. This is about playing. Let yourself play. So you're going to choose a magazine. It's very important that you choose the one that you look that entices you, that evokes an emotion, maybe a little ting of joy, or I like the red sweat. You don't have to know why. Just learn to pay attention, which is a big piece of being creative. Learning to let go of the product and enjoy the process here. So now choose your magazine, your piece of mail, get your piece of paper. You don't even have to have scissors. When I started collaging, I primarily tore out the pages. Begin thumbing through the magazine and give yourself about 15 minutes to start because it takes really 10 for that right brain to take over. You're just going to look through here with the motivation not to create something fancy or that you're going to show someone, but simply to play. Simply play and see what you're drawn to. It may be a word, it may be an image. I love this outdoor space. I'm simply going to tear that out, lay it aside. I'm also drawn to this telephone booth. So I'm going to tear that out even smaller. Use scissors if you like. The idea is for 10 to 15 minutes, you are going to play. And then you're going to take your glue after you've gathered all your pages, completely cover the piece of paper, glue them onto the piece of paper, layer them all without trying too hard. It's all about playing, all about playing. And when you're finished, just examine, just look what you've created. This is a way to bring play and delight that's so important and creativity back into your day. And I would recommend doing this fairly often to bring delight. You can also be still and listen. Solitude is not meant to be alone. Solitude is meant to be a place where we can hear truth. And then finally, be creative, be still, and just allow yourself to be, whatever that means. So all of these tiny trusts bring us to a more rich, exuberant living, which is how we're all designed and made to live. We just forget when we climb in those boxes that we create. I hope you'll join me on this journey to really be alive. Thanks so much for joining us on Even Just a Little.